Checker Nation, I'm Mark.
And I'm Kevin.
Tonight we're talking about HIV negative guys, dating guys that are HIV positive. We've done our research to do this show. We have a lot of statistics, and we have read some of the emails from guys who are HIV negative, who are dating HIV positive guys, the pros and the cons. Kevin, you want to start off and state some things?
Well, I think first of all, probably the most important thing is to do your own research. The more research that you do, the more that you read about HIV positive people and the disease and HIV and AIDS, the better informed that you're going to be able to make your own decision on whether you should date a person that is HIV positive or not.
Right. The main reason that prompted us to do this show, I met a guy recently who is HIV positive, who I think is an incredible person. I've never in a million years would have considered dating a guy who is HIV positive because I'm HIV negative, and I just never considered it. However, you know how you run across someone, and it doesn't happen often, who it just makes you question your core belief system and makes you question things. And he is such an incredible person. I decided I will do my own research and I will give this guy a chance. However, he thought it was too much of a burden for him to have to worry about always wondering if he's gonna
infect you.
Right. So it didn't go anywhere, and that's his decision, and I'm okay with that, because it made me do more research, and I'm just honored that I had a chance to meet someone like that, and to also be able to share a lot of information, what we found out about a guy who's HIV negative dating someone who's HIV positive. So what I found out is that it is possible for an HIV negative guy to date someone who is HIV negative. I'm sorry, who is HIV positive. You just have to, like you said, you have to do your research. You have to always use condoms. That means no barebacking. And barebacking is when you're basically engaging in anal sex. Your penis is going into their rectum basically without a condom. Okay, that's barebacking. There's no protection whatsoever. So basically, when you're dating someone who is HIV positive and you're HIV negative, or even if both people are HIV positive, you still should be practicing safe sex.
Because I read information about reinfection rates. A lot of people think that, well, I'm HIV positive, I don't have to worry if I get infected again. However, you can get very sick again. And go through the same stuff that you went through on the first time, because your immune system has already been compromised.
And it's going to be compromised again and again.
And you'll get
sicker. A lot of people out there, especially in our community, the gay community, don't realize just because you test HIV positive, that doesn't necessarily mean that you could go out there and just have a buffet of men and just do whatever. You still have the chance of still being reinfected and reinfected and getting the different strands.
I also read about what they call the super infection, which is where you get extremely ill. And that happens, the most common super infection is when a guy has already been infected by the HIV virus, and then within a year after that has risky behavior again, gets infected again, and they call it a super infection because it's such a strong strain of the virus and it compromises your immune system so much.
So basically, in a nutshell, what we found out is really not too much of a difference of a HIV negative guy dating a guy who's HIV positive, because two HIV positive guys, they still have the chance of being reinfected and getting different strands of the virus and breaking down your immune system even more. So to eliminate your chances or decreasing your chances of getting the virus, you have to practice safe sex. You basically are, I don't want to say the odds are the same, HIV negative guy dating HIV positive guy. However, what we're saying, correct me if I'm wrong, two HIV positive guys still have the chance of reinfecting each other if they are not practicing safe sex. We have looked at some of the emails about guys who are HIV negative, dating guys are HIV positive, and they said that for them, they do not have a problem with that because basically they fell in love and they practice safe sex.
They know the risks.
However, on the flip side of the coin, we also have seen the emails from guys who are HIV negative that will not consider dating a guy who's HIV positive. And from what I've seen, you know, I mean, I think there's probably more people out there, the HIV negative guys, who will not date a guy, who would not take the risk and date a guy HIV positive. So we're doing this show to educate people and to tell people whether you are for dating a guy who's HIV positive or you're not, do your research, because you will find out dating a guy whose status is unknown, you do not know, basically you're almost in the same situation, if not worse.
And also, if you're an HIV positive person and you meet someone you're very interested in who is HIV negative, you have to do your research as well to know the risks to your potential partner. Like the individual that you met, he was not comfortable because he, you know, for whatever reason, he would have felt extremely guilty if you somehow became infected from him. You know.
And we found out some pretty interesting information. We found out that the most common ways the virus is transmitted is through blood, semen, pre-cum, in pussy fluid, which is vagina fluid. That's my way of being funny. But so basically, it's also basically through if someone has a cut in their mouth. Okay, this came up with one of my friends. With the infected person, exchange of body fluids, which basically, there's a lot of information out there. So basically what we're saying is that you could date someone who is HIV positive and you being negative and still remain HIV negative as long as you do your research and you practice safe sex. However, if you don't feel that way, that you could date someone who is HIV positive, hey, there are a lot of people out there who...
Let's talk about when you first meet someone, too. And maybe you don't know their status. Maybe they're not forthcoming with it.
Oh, that's easy.
Get tested.
Right, you go and get tested.
Both of you.
It should be a deal breaker until you go down and see the test results, because...
For each other.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of different things out there, and unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there who are infected and they do not know it because they have not been tested. Okay, so whichever way you're leaning, you're HIV negative, and you are for dating a guy, or you are dating a guy who's HIV positive, do your homework, please, and practice safe sex. If you are a guy who is HIV negative and you will never ever consider dating a guy who is HIV positive, please do your research. Okay, all I could say is that doing this has been very informational. Actually, has been very very fun actually doing the research for this show. And I think love, unfortunately, does not, you don't know who you're going to fall for. And you don't know if the person's HIV positive or HIV negative until you sit down and talk with them. But how do you feel? Do you think you could ever date someone who's HIV positive?
I think I probably could.
Okay.
I would have to do even more research, I think.
All right.
The person would have to be very special. We'd have to have, an agreement.
What would the agreement be? No barebacking?
Yeah, I mean, that we would have to be extremely safe. However, I think that I would be able to do it, but I also think that in the back of my mind, there would always be that, what if we weren't as careful as we could be, or if there was an accident, all kinds of things. That would probably be
I think that's the case with anything, though.
With anything.
You could walk out this door and get shot. You could be crossing the street and get hit by a car. You don't know. Yeah. That's what life is about. I'm not saying taking risks. I'm just saying...
But, I mean, we do things to minimize the chance of getting killed or injured or sick. It's like when you get in your car, you put your seatbelt on.
Right.
We do things. We stop at a red light.
So basically for you, you don't know. It boils down to the person, right?
Right. You have to be extremely cautious.
I agree because I did not go seeking someone who was HIV positive. Again, it boils down to the person, the quality of the person. Again, please do your research. We hope this information that we have shared with you have been very informational. If you have any questions or you have any ideas for any future shows, please email us at CHECKEREDNATION@yahoo.com. All right? Take care.
Thank you.